episode 3. And it's crazy because I feel like I just filmed episode 2 and episode 1. The weeks are flying by fast. We got my 2 lit crew with me. Y'all know I'm Snook, Cole, and Paul. What's good with my crew? Today, I'm not going to ask you how your week went. I'm going to ask you about something going on. I have a question for all of you all.
Okay.
So, a source confirms that the NHL is planning to the private purchase of a COVID vaccine for all constituents involved in the potential upcoming season. Now, this made thousands of people mad for obvious reasons. They feel like the sports leagues are cutting the line. They feel like, oh, so you can pay your way to a vaccine. There's all kinds of complaints. My question is for all of you guys, do you have a problem with sports leagues being able to purchase large amounts of vaccines early? Let's start with you, Snook.
Well, I think it sends a bad message to the public who was really leery of the vaccine anyway. And they're thinking that from the news we've seen on TV that the rich and the famous get treatments and things that the normal public does not. So I think it just perpetuates and, goes into that feeling that, the rich and famous are getting it and they're not.
Okay, what do you feel? And so Snook thinks that you should not be able to pay your way to health things. There's some people that say, well, if we want those same athletes to entertain us under unusual circumstances, which we did last season, then they should be allowed to get it. But Cole, what is your thoughts?
Go ahead. Go ahead, four teams. Y'all just go ahead and do all you want to do because we just going to watch what happens. And that way, by the time y'all pay y'all way through it and everybody gets it, we figure out what's going to happen, then we can trickle on down to the rest of the people. I mean, I know there's some people who want it up front, but I say go ahead. This is this is the best testing you can do. Free testing. Go ahead.
I'm dead. Paulino VP. What are your thoughts about sports leagues getting the vaccine? And again, they're getting it from a private company, but what are your thoughts about getting the vaccine?
I think why not? If they're gonna put on sports, then I guess why shouldn't they do it?
Okay, he's short and simple. He said, why not? If they're going to put on sports, give the folks the vaccines. I get both sides of the argument. For the athlete's perspective, their job is making them work under unusual circumstances, the same as some essential workers. I know people don't consider sports essential jobs, but they did actually work in the pandemic when a lot of people were at home. So I see both sides of the coin. I also see that the public vaccines available and the private vaccines available are two completely separate entities. People know, money makes the world go round, and I'm sure the NHL has a lot of money. The NFL is going to have a lot of money. The NBA got a lot of money. A lot of people are going to have a lot of money to pay for these vaccines.
And also, let me just say this. It's not going, us having feeling a way about it's not going to stop it.
Facts.
It's not going to stop it, literally.
Simply put, and I even saw to Cole's point, I saw people actually tweeting Pfizer and telling them don't do it, as if a company is not going to collect a check. Like, I've never seen a company turn down a big check like that, never. But moving on to remotely random. And this one is where I just give out random things, random stuff that's going on this week. And I don't know if anybody saw, but I have a new job this 2020. It has been announced that I will be the analyst for the Hawks all season long for Hawks Live. I don't know, it's called Hawks Live is the Hawks Live is the pre-game, halftime, post-game for the NBA team, the Atlanta Hawks. I'll be doing that with Fox Sports South. And I'm excited because no one actually really knows what the Hawks are going to look like this season. A lot of new parts, and I'm excited about that. There's a preseason game literally going on. Today is Friday, but it's starting and everything's starting. And the lineup, the prospective lineup is Trae Young, Bogdan, Solomon Hill, John Collins, Clint Capella. And on paper, this looks like a team that can compete and will compete. And so I'm excited. I know a lot of people need to pay attention too, because with a lot of moving parts, you should not expect the Hawks to just come out firing in preseason. If they are amazing, but it takes time to gel, and they have a lot of new pieces. So I'm excited to kind of be there, front row seat, and see how the Hawks grow this season. So yes, new news. Yes, Atlanta Hawks, we are a part of the family. More Atlanta stuff. You know, I'm here for all things ATL. Moving on. Thank you, Cole. Thank you. I know, and I guess Paul was saying when I teased this episode 1, he thought that was a little too. He thought I gave you guys a little too much, and no one even knew. So they thought I could have been.
There was a poll
they
on
thought
Twitter.
I could have been, huh?
They had a poll on Twitter. Remember?
Oh yeah, they did. They did. Twitter's back. By the way, I don't know if people know, but like Twitter is my favorite app right now. I'm just going to leave that there. Moving on to remote scoreboard. We got some interesting stuff today. I can't wait for rap, but moving on to remote scoreboard. What do you have for us, VP?
So first we'll go over the female fans help push the Cyber Week sports apparel sales. They doubled from last year's with the increase because they had new partnerships with like Tommy Hilfiger and Vineyard Vines and Levi's and Alex and Ani bracelets.
You're going to see a common thread going on, and it's called the Women Are Popping thread, and it's going to be on here, on Remotely Renee. That is where you're going to hear it, because I talk about a lot of things that women are doing. A lot of companies, leagues, just networks don't believe in the power of women. And the reason I say that is because the numbers show it. There's not a lot of women in management. There's not a lot of women in positions of power. They don't use a lot of women influencers, and the list goes on. Analysts, commentators, there's just not a lot. You don't see them by the boatloads. But on the other side of things, I saw an interesting stat that came out that said the NWSL, which is the Women's Soccer League, and the WNBA led in engagement. Now, what that means is they have the most engagement. Was it on Twitter, Paul, or all social media? We don't know. Sorry, but you can go look somewhere and see. I tweeted about it. But the point is that both of those leagues, for all the rating nonsense that people talk about and all the no one cares nonsense that people talk about, the numbers just really aren't showing that. What's next, Paul?
Well, I got a question for Cole and Snook. Like when you guys are buying like sports apparel, like female sports apparel, like did you guys have trouble ever buying it?
Female sports apparel, yeah. I mean, I literally remember Renee playing for Minnesota when she got drafted, and I was like, where's the jersey? Where's the jersey online? And she was like, Cole, the jersey is not out yet. You got to give it 2 seconds. I was like, why is it not already somewhere for me to click the button to pay for it to get it? So at one point, it still is. I honestly, because I'm biased, I really don't search anyone else's apparel except for my sister.
I love it, Cole.
I can't say that I've looked for other women's apparel, but it is something that you hit and miss, especially with jerseys and stuff like that.
Definitely.
You can't find it really. So
a term they use is pink it and shrink it, is what I read in a news article, where for women's stuff, it just wasn't a lot of variety. It was, okay, here's this thing. Let's make it pink and make it in a small. What do you think, Snook? What's your answer to Paul's question?
Okay, well, Paul, this is how it is. Okay, so I have went and looked for family members who were interested and friends who wanted to buy women's apparel, but I was blessed. My daughter kept me in the know with that. Kept me suited up, armored up, and all.
You best believe it. Every Christmas, I'm giving everybody gear. Period. Yes. What's next on the scoreboard?
Next is Floyd Mayweather is fighting Logan Paul, and they're pre-selling it for $25 for the first 1 million buys, and then I think it's 60 for the after that, and then like 75 day of.
Okay, so I'm really torn about this. Like, I'm torn on so many levels. On one level, I want to see Floyd like knock Logan Paul out. I'm just going to say it. I want to see it. But the other level is that we're giving Logan Paul what he wants. Like, he's in a win-win situation. Like, if Floyd Mayweather knocks him out, no shocker alert. And then if he does even okay and last, or if let's even say wins, which I know that's not very likely, but that's a win-win for him. Like, what? Like, there's no bad situation. Logan Paul is getting, what is his name? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Logan Paul is literally getting like exactly what he wants. Even for the other influencers, there's like a line of athletes in every sport that wants to fight him. If he's getting 600,000 a pop minimum, like he has a whole career now, one, fighting people that may not know how to fight, and two, actually fighting real fighters in exhibitions. So it's crazy to me. Y'all have any thoughts on that? Like, what are y'all's thoughts on, and then $25 for the first million? Like, that's crazy because they know they're going to do more than 1 million buyers. But what are y'all's, like, how do y'all feel about this fight coming up?
I think it's crazy. I think it's okay to fight the randoms, the people who may not know how to fight, luck it up. But for you to go up in there and even let this man play like he's going to hit you in the head, I don't know. That's just me. Like when fighting, like people who aren't in that profession, got it. But it's just a different level of when you step into the ring to even shadow box a real boxer.
Well, he supposedly is a real boxer. You know that he has boxed before. Logan Paul is not just an influencer. Logan Paul is an actual boxer. That's why he was able to knock Nate Robinson out. So he's had one fight. A lot of people,
that was his brother.
Oh, that was his brother?
That was his brother.
Logan Paul is the older one. He's 0-1.
It's not
he fought
the same
another
one?
YouTuber.
No, it's not.
No.
Oh my gosh, this is even worse. So they're giving both of the brothers a whole
it's
career?
Worse.
It's worse.
It's worse because Logan Paul is 0-1 versus a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Another YouTuber.
Oh my gosh. And now he gets to fight Floyd Mayweather?
That's why I said that's why I said they
so 50-0 versus 0-1.
Oh my, and all I keep seeing about is his Instagram followers. You know, like we know that's what got him the fight, but imagine having 20 million Instagram followers. That can buy you anything, like even a fight with Floyd Mayweather. Snook, what you think?
Well, I just think I'm going along with you with that. You know, he's getting rich off of doing really just, you know, stepping in the ring and having his people on Instagram follow him. And I just really don't see much in it. You know, I just don't see much in it.
I don't understand why he is so excited.
Because he got to skip the line. So I'll tell you, Cole, a lot of people are upset because there's a lot of fighters that have trained their whole life to try to get a fight with Floyd Mayweather. And there's a lot of boxers that right now are in their prime that want that, even if it's an exhibition with Floyd Mayweather. There's a lot of boxers that would be more qualified, obviously, to have an exhibition with Floyd Mayweather. So it's really crazy that an 0-1 YouTube sensation like that. This is crazy, Snook.
But the thing is, do they have 20 million followers?
That's it.
That's the bottom line, the dollar.
Well, and that's to say, this is a reality show lifestyle. That's what people know. People know the reality show, and that's reality. That's a reality show to them. So,
yeah.
Well, on the athlete branding side, boxers and MMA fighters are probably the worst at doing the off the field stuff. So that's that you could take that into account too on the box, especially boxers.
Yeah, they want some life into boxing, like and I don't care what anybody says because Dana White was quoted saying he thinks it's terrible for boxing. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think it's amazing for boxing because for casual fans like me, there's a heavyweight fight that happened this past weekend and I don't know anything about it. I only know that one person tried to kiss a reporter against her will. And so I hope that Joshua, the guy that's fighting him, like I'm glad to see what happens, but to me, I don't watch boxing enough to have analysis. And so for me to be into boxing now, that's great for boxing. What's next, Paul?
So the last question before that one. So the numbers are Floyd Mayweather's highest pay-per-view buy was 4.6 million buys. Logan Paul's versus other YouTuber was 1.2 million buys. And Tyson Jones last week it says more than 1.6 million. And that was so that's a top 10 ever. So,
so the influencer package works. So they're trying, everybody's going to do it.
Over under 2 million buys.
Ooh, I say over 2 million. You got Floyd Mayweather. I think a lot of people are saying that Floyd is going to win, obviously, but everybody still wants to watch it. It's not like we're watching in suspense. Everybody just wants to see what it looks like. So over 2 million. What you think, Cole?
Same, over 2 million easily.
Snook, over or under 2 mil?
Over.
They about to cash out. Moving on. What's next?
One more thing. It's just like any other thing, you know, that's why they play the game. Merriweather might make a bad slip and get knocked out. You
Oh,
just
boy,
Snook, don't even speak
Snook,
of that.
0% chance.
Paul said there is a 0% chance that Floyd loses. 0.
okay.
What's next?
Colin Kaepernick gets his own ice cream by Ben & Jerry's.
Did y'all see this?
I saw that.
And
did.
I was like, so we covered this on TMZ Sports, and you can't call it ice cream. It's called a dessert because he's vegan and they couldn't use a lot of things that they make their normal ice cream with because they made it vegan for him. All proceeds are going to be donated. That's one thing I like about Colin Kaepernick. Everything he does, even with his Nike shoes, those exclusive releases, like whenever he does a lot of these collabs, he donates most times 100% of the proceeds. So it makes you want to go out and buy it knowing that, all right, let me try this dessert and see what it's hitting for. And I'm also donating to a good cause. I think the dessert, I forget, it actually sounded all right. It had like graham cracker in it. What like
Caramel fudge.
Caramel
chip
fudge.
I won't even be able to taste it probably till March because it's going to sell out. Number one. Number two, that's what I love about him too, is that he talk and he walks the walk. So he says, if I'm gonna give back, I'm not going to negotiate giving back. Just give it all to him. That's so amazing. I love it. I will be looking for this ice cream. This dessert. Dessert. No,
Snook, you going to try out Colin's ice cream? Oh, I mean dessert.
If it comes to West Virginia, I will.
Oh, come on, Ben & Jerry's. That's another thing. Everything doesn't go everywhere. Yeah, no.
Ben & Jerry's here in this particular area.
What'd you say?
We don't have a Ben & Jerry's here in this particular area.
Yeah, but hopefully at Kroger. It's not at Kroger?
Oh, it's not going to be, okay. Well, if it's at Kroger, I'll definitely buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, Snook gonna check it out. We are gonna check out that tasty treat. You love to see it. That was the last thing, right? So we're moving on. I'm really, what did you think about Shea Serrano, Paul? Because you follow him on the internet. What are your thoughts about Shea?
He's the most mysterious man on social media, which is odd to say because he's on social media.
Love it. I agree. I couldn't wait to interview Shea just because, there's so many things I enjoy about Shea. I mean, he's the New York Times bestseller, so there's that. But he actually just won Big League Citizen of the Year award for donating almost $500,000 with his organization Guerrilla Philanthropy. Now, that's all amazing, and we actually don't even hit on that because that happened after I interviewed him. But what I really enjoy about Shea is that he trolls all the trolls on the internet all day long. Don't come at him with no junk because he's going to come back at you. Check out Shea. Okay. I'm here with the #1 New York Times bestselling author, co-host of a podcast called The Connect, which I recently saw that your other co-host was coming up. But my favorite thing that I enjoy about my next guest is that he roasts Twitter trolls like all day. Love it. Can't get enough of it. Shea Serrano, thank you for joining remotely, Renee. I am excited about this one. This is the most interesting man in the world. By the way, this is what me and my manager, Paul, always say.
That's a super big buildup. I'm going to spend the whole interview and just be as boring as possible now.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm letting people know what they are getting. Because do a lot of different things. So I just like what you do. And I'm going to start with halfway books. So how did it become a thing? Why is it named that way? Because my first thought I think of is ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. So
there it is.
That's my first thing. But let me hear you say, what is it all about?
That is exactly why it is named what it is named. It's a play off of the Mobb Deep line from Shook Ones, which is an outstanding rap song, probably one of the greatest rap songs of all time. So I am working at the moment on a rap book myself. Working on any sort of book is a very lonely process. You're the only person really working on it for, 14 months or 15 months until you start giving it to your editor. So I started this thing, Halfway Books, which is like basically it's a pretend publishing company that I run where I just hire my own writers to write about a rap thing. In this case, I hired 5 writers, each of them to write about one specific album, about 3,000 words. And then we just build it as like basically as a digital thing. You read it on your phone or your iPad or computer or whatever. And then we put it up for sale, and, you know, all of the money goes directly to them. But I just wanted to have some people who were working on a rap thing while I was working on a rap thing. And then I can have some friends. I'm paying people to be my friend. That's what it is.
So I like that. And that's what I was going to say about you being an author. Typically when people hear author, they don't think of Scrubs. They don't think of The Office. They don't think of rap, you know, when you think of authors and what they write about. But that's what I love about what you do. You write about different type of topics that somebody that might not read might actually read your stuff. So how did you get like first, how did you just even get into that field to like, I'm just going to write a book. Like, I'm just going to do it.
All of this stuff that happened with my writing career, it all was an accident. I was a teacher, middle school teacher for 9 years. My wife was a teacher as well. We were getting married. She got pregnant with twins. A few months into the pregnancy, she had some pregnancy complications. She couldn't work anymore. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know, we have one teacher salary that's supposed to pay for me and her and these 2 kids that we have coming. And yeah, it wasn't enough. Teachers make like $1,000 every 2 weeks or something. We were living in Houston. It just didn't fit. So I was trying to find another job that I could do to just float us until she went back to work. And, you know, I tried at Target or Papa Dough or whatever. And I kept getting turned down because they said I already had a full-time job and I couldn't work when they needed me to. Wow. So I'm just Googling work from home jobs. Writer was one of them. I said, I guess I'll try this. I started freelance.
You've never written anything before? You just kind of university did like just.
Yeah. When you grow up a certain way, it's just like if you need a thing, you have to figure out how to get the thing. I didn't have any experience with any of that. I didn't know anybody in the field. But yeah, it was just like everything is on the internet. Let me read about it. Let me get some books, start sending some emails and see what happens. And then, you know, that took off. I did that for a few years, freelancing. I eventually got like a full-time writing job. And then I started doing books. Around 2013 or 14 is when all of that stuff opened up for me, really.
So we're talking about different people. A lot of people call teachers heroes, you know, like because they teach and everything. Who is someone that you would consider a hero in real life? Like somebody that may not get out, like for instance, some people might consider you a hero in real life because you're giving people a way to write, giving people a way to express themselves. Halfway books is a job opportunity for people, and that's what you needed, and you created that. So who would you consider is a hero in real life?
Is this a thing where I'm like not allowed to pick my parents or whatever? I have to.
Whoever you want.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You do both, actually. I want to do both. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we'll go that way because, you know, we grew up on the south side of San Antonio. My parents, they had me when they were teenagers, and they had to drop out of school. Nobody got a degree. They're just like hustling their way through it. And so you're growing up watching them do that, watching them go through the little food stamp hustle where you're flipping like 2-for-1 type of things, or the big trash hustle where you borrow someone's truck and then you drive through the neighborhood and pick up the like valuable pieces of trash and take them to the flea market and clean them up and sell them. Or, you know, I'm watching them like do what they need to do to make it. So you know, I become a grown up and I find myself in some spots where I'm like, oh, I don't know how we're going to pay these bills. I'm just going to try and do what they were doing, hustling for that. Yeah. So there's that one. And then like, yeah. You're saying a bunch of nice stuff about me. I'm like, just turn it back to you. I started following you when I saw you doing all of the activism stuff during the protests. And I was like, well, I know this person from following the WNBA. Let me see what's going on. And I think it started out real small. You were just out there like handing out bottles of water to people as they were walking by. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then 4 months later, you're on every TV channel and show like you did the exact same thing like that. I'm sure probably wasn't your plan or what you had like aimed for, but you just were following your feet. It's the same thing here. So I'll pick you. There you go.
Look, that's lit. Okay, this is definitely going to make the show. A lot of times when the athlete makes a decision to leave, it's like a whole different scenario than when the team makes a decision to leave. For instance, DeAndre Hopkins. So I know everybody.
I'm going to go. I quit. I'm out of here. This is the worst interview I've ever done.
So tell me, what are your thoughts on that? Because you see how if the player makes a decision, sometimes people have a problem with it. But when a franchise decides to get rid of a good player, it's no problem. It's just a trade. It's just part of the business. What are your thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins? And what the Texans
that was like one of those situations where a sports trade happened and it just really hurts in your chest a whole lot. This is one of the best receivers in the NFL. 2018. This is my favorite like recent football stat of all time. 2018. They threw the ball. Deshaun threw the ball, or whoever other quarterback we might have had when Deshaun was out, threw the ball at DeAndre Hopkins 115 times during the 2018 season. 115 times they threw it at him, and he caught it 115 times. He had 0 drops for a whole season. Every time they threw the ball to him, he caught it. And then, it's unreal. At the time, the greatest in the NFL. You can argue top 2 or 3 maybe right now. But you have this guy. You have this guy that is just beloved in Houston, just a beloved person. The only stories you hear about DeAndre are good stories. Same as like when we had Andre Johnson, same as what you hear about Deshaun. The only stories that ever come out are like, he did this really nice thing for these people, blah, blah, blah. But he gets into it with Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien at the time was not only the coach, but also the GM who's supposed to have oversight over the coach, and Bill shipped him out of there. I think Bill knew he was done at the Texans, and he was like, you know what? Let me just burn all these bridges real fast. Right. Let me set it all on fire. And terrible. We didn't even get a 1st-round pick. Are you serious? What are we doing?
WNBA team. It doesn't have to be like my team, but are you like, because there used to be a team in San Antonio, the Stars used to be.
Yeah. They were in San Antonio. They left. They became the Aces. I started following the WNBA when Asia got to the league, and I was like looking for a team. Yeah. I said, oh well, they were already in San Antonio. Let me like look up them. It was a young team. They had Asia. They had Kelsey, and then they just kept getting these big drafts. We got Liz now. De'Erica, like that's my team.
Y'all are stacked.
We would. I swear. I was just on a Zoom the other day with Sue Bird for this other podcast, and I felt bad because we lost to them in the finals. But I think we would have beat Seattle if we had all of our pieces. Oh. If we had our pieces, I think we would have been okay. We listen. You can't do much with Breanna Stewart when she turns it on. When she turns on the big engines, there's not a lot you can do. But I think if you have De'Erica Hamby out there chasing her around, bumping her, shoving her a little bit.
That was a big blow. That one hurt. Right before the finals, that was a big blow. But Seattle's tough. I mean, I think you guys would give them a run for the money. It's probably gonna be a rematch next year. You never know with those 2 teams. But
I hope so. Hey, do you ever talk to Kennedy Carter? Is that like your friend? How does that work?
I don't like talk to her on a normal basis now.
She was like, when the rookies were coming in, I was really excited about her. I was watching her a lot of Texas A&M. Yeah. I started following her when she hit that big shot in the tournament, that game winner, that like pop, in front of the top of the key. And I'm like, let me watch this player.
You're a real fan of women's basketball. I love it. Guys, thank you.
That was good.
All right, listen, ain't no such thing as halfway books. I love it. I love everything Shay is doing. Shay, thank you for joining us here. Now we're going to move on to remotely social. And I didn't even ask you, Paul or Cole, for a clip, but Snook had just randomly sent me a clip. So I'm like, I'm about to use Snook's clip and see what you guys think. Snook, tell us about your clip.
Okay, well, evidently, some parents, with COVID going on, everyone is not allowed to attend their children's games like basketball or whatever. And so for this particular clip, I guess it was just limited to the parents being there for the basketball game. And everyone was standing and waiting for the national anthem to occur. And they had technical difficulties. The sound system was not working. So this brave father just burst out singing the national anthem. Now, it wasn't Whitney Houston or anything like that, but I give him kudos for having the gumption to sing it all the way through. And when he finished, he sat down and started eating his popcorn.
All right, so that was a great setup, Snooka Booka. Wow, that was good.
Well, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran up the
Okay, so what are your thoughts, reactions? Like, how did he do?
He can sing better than me.
I'm about to say, I actually don't think I was expecting a lot worse. So I don't think he did too bad for somebody who just going to belt it out, just give it to him. I think he did good.
I think that he was all of us in the shower, but he actually sounds like okay. Like he was singing. I mean, he was singing hard too. So he was really trying to hit some of them notes. I expected it to be way worse than that. It was like there were good moments for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and you know, and a lot of times when people realize somebody's putting themselves out like that, the crowd might have just joined in. They're helping, but no one joined in, you know.
They gave him his spotlight. They said, "Oh, you got it." I mean, he was singing hard though. It was like that was his moment or something. That It was like he had prepared his whole life for that. And so I want to show a quick remotely social image because I was just like blown away at this. So Jim Boeheim said, "This is my 45th year as a head coach of Syracuse, but first of all, that's amazing. 45 years, unbelievable." But he said this is his first year that he's had to wear a mask on in the photo. Look at this. Look at this team photo. If this isn't 2020, a 2020 marker in history photo, like what? Do y'all think that mask on for photos is a normal idea? Like, what are we thinking about that?
Well, they weren't social distancing, so I think it's appropriate.
Okay, I like that.
I think 99% sure the school said, y'all will not stand that close to each other without some type of mask. I mean, because, you know what I'm saying?
It's kind of crazy, though.
It's crazy, but
because you got to think in practice, they're sweating and guarding each other face to face. I know they don't have masks on there. It's like sports is just not COVID friendly. Like, what do you think about the
they
mask?
Probably took one with what? They probably took one without mask and one with mask.
They got to, because that one was kind of trill. I'm not gonna lie. They had the neck gaiters on. Those aren't even masks. Those are neck gaiters. And that was dope.
Those ones don't work anyways.
But they wanted to be politically correct because they're trying to get the right message out there. Otherwise, they would have just not had them on. But they're trying to say that they're politically correct and doing what's necessary to stay safe. So I applaud them for that.
I applaud them too.
I don't know if you guys saw. I don't know if you guys saw what Coach K did. He said he's not. They canceled non-conference and they said they're not employees. Like we have to protect them.
Wow. Yeah, I did see that. So Coach K, the reason he said they're not employees and we have to protect them because a lot of universities, pretty much all of them up until this point, just function as businesses. Like the athletes are employees. And that's why the discussion of name, image, and likeness became a thing. That's why now athletes are going to get paid because we were employees at UConn when we played there, and I'm an employee now in the WNBA, and I love that Coach K is protecting his players, but we have to move on. That's almost a discussion for another day. We're moving on to Remote Show and Tell, and so Remote Show and Tell is powered by New Energy because we have our first sponsorship, and New Energy's products seeks to resolve imbalances and blockage with the human body and promotes natural healing to those affected areas. Now, this week, Snook is going to be the one showing and telling. So what do you have for us this week, Snooka Booka?
Okay, so I have two things. Let me start with the broad spectrum hemp. It's a salve that you use and you rub it on your areas that are causing you problems. Now, I love this stuff. I've had neck surgery and I've had some rheumatoid arthritis and I've used it. And I use it twice a day. I use it in the mornings and I use it in the evening before I go to bed. And it makes my neck more fluent, not as stiff. I don't have that pain or that kind of crunch I feel.
Snook, you could be on QVC. Like I just like you got it. Like I mean, like I'm blown away. I gave you the product, like because I work with the company, but wow, they need to keep this. Keep going.
Yes, and so the rheumatoid arthritis in my hands, you can see that I have full movement there. I have been on some heavy medications and unable to use my hands at all. So this has been a miraculous for me. Thank you, Renee. And then the second thing I have to show you is the mask. Now, I don't know how Renee talked me into sending a picture of this mask with me having it on.
Oh,
this is the best stuff. I'm a spa girl. I go to the spa and get facials and things of that nature. And this, you use this, and after you take it off, you can actually see the difference in your skin, and I love it. So
Wow.
ECN has great products, and if you are a lady who wants to do a mask, please, you need to try this. It's miraculous. Nikki has used it as well. It makes
I
your
was about to ask. Yeah, is that the one I had?
Yeah,
That
I
thing
sent
is
it.
amazing. I
yeah,
loved it.
it's
I did. I
great.
was mad that I didn't have, I was like sitting on there and my son was looking at me like, I don't know what's going on here. It felt so good. When I took it off, my skin looked like literally like all of the dead cells were gone. And I was literally glowing. So I loved it. I absolutely loved
Unbelievable. You know
It's
what?
a great
So when I saw
product.
the text message, I thought it was like a mask, like 2020 mask.
He thought it
That's
was
what
mask off, mask off.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
so wow, amazing Snookabuka. We need to actually, I'm just starting to realize we maybe shouldn't be doing these reviews for free, because that was like a whole promo ad. Shouts to ECN though. I really actually, it's a CBD company, and I know the first thing that people think of when they think of CBD is marijuana, but ECN's products have 0.0 THC in it. How do I know? Because I was using it as I was playing and I was just fine. I made the mask. So how my family got it is because when I find a product that is dope, of course I share it with the fam bam. So I sent them out some and I'm like, what did you think about it? And Snook liked it so much that I'm like, all right, bomb, remote show and tell. Love it, love it, love it. And we're moving on to you, Cole, with remotely ranting. Listen, we're not ranting. We're just getting some things off of our chest. So it's remotely ranting. Cole, take it.
Okay, so I understand everybody shops online. I love shopping online, but I'm gonna just say this, and I hope that they hear me. Where is Toys R Us? Because these buying toys online and buying toys in the store are two totally different things. I have ordered stuff that I thought was like 5 inches tall that was literally a keychain. Put it in a stocking. It's no longer going to be wrapped up under the tree. So where is Toys R Us? Because I used to be like, see something online, be like, oh, let me go in here and see just what the product looked like.
Right.
I mean, on the screen, you see it, they have it like against something else. Then you get it. I got it. It was literally the size of a keychain.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
wild.
oh, I need toy. And not even that, but just finding the toys. It's like, if it's the hottest toy, you could guarantee that Toys R Us is going to have it. But everybody else, it's like a hit or miss.
Well,
but
where do you go to get toys now? That's actually, I mean, where do people, I mean, Amazon.
Amazon bought Toys R Us.
Yeah, Amazon bought Toys R Us, but just being able to sometimes hold a product and see if it is actually something viable for the kid to play with. If it was an adult, you're like, okay, I can deal with it. But you don't want to give something to a kid and then you open it up and you're like, oh, this is not even what I thought it was.
You know what, Cole? That actually is I know a lot of people can relate to this because a lot of people have bought products online. You try out this new website. It could be a boutique. And then all of a sudden your size 2 fits like a size -0.0 and the things just aren't right. So there is something about online shopping where it's like that just Russian roulette. You don't know what you're going to get when it arrives type thing. I think that a lot of people have experienced thinking, this happened with me with like a desk. I thought that I was going to have like a nice little, this desk that I'm using right here. You know, I thought it was going to be like a certain size. This is the size that I ended up wanting. But the one I got before this was like just a personal desk. I couldn't have fit all my goodies on there. So yes, I have been in that position before.
Well, here's my story. I was ordering some superhero stickers for my grandkids to do a little project. And when I got them, they were about this size. You couldn't even hardly see them. It's like you would put them on a paper to say, oh, good job, AJ or Van. There wasn't anything that I could use to make, do what I wanted to do. I thought it was going to be like something
big
like
old
this.
Stickers.
Something like this.
Yeah.
They get us every time.
They gave me the size of the sheet. Instead of saying the individual sticker, when I said 5 by 8, I thought, okay, great. But that was the size of the sheet that had like
them on there. Got her. Paul, have we got a PlayStation yet? Just speaking of online shopping, is there a PlayStation in the cart yet?
No. What's the hot toy besides like electronic, besides video games?
Like I used to remember, and before you answer that, Cole, remember when we used to circle things on the magazine? Like we used to have a real production about picking our toys every year.
Well, kids nowadays, no matter how young they are, 5, 6, 7, I've had requests for cards they can use to play video games. They don't want the video game. They go online and they have to have, money or whatever to be able to play the game. And so they requested the card.
Definitely. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's
virtual currency.
Virtual currency.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to go for it. Literally a card, and it's crazy. You could put
I'm not gonna lie though.
In
Exactly, Cole. But I'm not gonna lie, Snook. Did I not tell y'all every year what did I want for Christmas for like 10 years in a row?
McDonald's.
What were they called? Well, there were cards where you could get download the movies on
iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes.
That's whenever I was playing overseas every single year, I told, this is before they figured everything out overseas, but I used to buy like seasons at a time on iTunes so that when I went overseas that I had stuff to watch. So every Christmas I told everybody, don't get me nothing but iTunes gift cards. Moving on to remotely trending.
Your aunts asked me recently, did you want iTunes this Christmas? I said, I don't think so.
I mean, yeah, you can tell them to give it to me because I use that for Candy Crush too. So iTunes is Candy Crush is a currency too. So anytime anybody wants to do some iTunes gift cards, I'm down. Moving on to remotely trending. Shouts to my aunties, the Buckeyes. What's good? Moving on to remotely trending. Curious you guys' thoughts on this. Competitive breakdancing will be at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Some think it will attract a younger audience that may not be into traditional sports, while others are like, yeah, nah, dancing is not a sport. Now, we polled our Instagram, but I want to hear y'all's thoughts before we tell you the results of the poll.
Did you say breakdancing? What did you say?
Yeah, breakdancing.
Has this time passed already?
Has what?
Has this time passed already? Isn't this something from the past that is
listen, they wanted to bring it back. I'm not gonna lie, I love the Jabberwockies. You Got Served was a hit. So I could see how, like, not for nothing, I know a lot of people are like, it's not a sport, but I could see how this would be wildly entertaining. Like, to watch two teams, it's literally You Got Served in real life. Two teams, do it for little Saint battling out. I mean, like, I could see the appeal. What do you think?
I think that it's good for entertainment, but how do you get a technical difficulty on those for a sport? Like, you didn't pop and lock it 3 times. You only did the 2.
Is there a certain amount of pop and locks you gotta do?
I'm saying, like, so how do you do the technical of that? It's like, everybody has to do a snake. Everybody got to do a robot. Like, what are you going to do? Yeah. So I think it's good for entertainment. I love dancing shows. There's dance shows all over TV now. Yeah. But to be in the Olympic Games, I think it's going a little bit far. Just a little bit.
Paulino, VP, what do you think?
Nah, you can't be giving them they can't be getting an Olympic gold medal for that's way too prestigious for breakdancing. They should have a different competition like X Games, but I mean, I think those kind of sports should be in the Olympics.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say that. I mean, because I personally, speaking of the X Games and like, love it, great, I would watch breakdancing over snowboarding. Just me personally, like if I saw both things on my TV guide and I'm looking at my TV guide, I might be like, what, breakdancing? And I would click that before I would click Olympic sports. Just me personally, not saying that nothing against them. I'm just saying I will watch that. I really hope the Jabberwockies go to the Paris 2024 Olympics. I'm like, what are the results, Paul? So we polled our Instagram, that's at Remotely Renee. We polled everybody and we asked them that exact same question. Do you think that breakdancing should be an Olympic sport? What's the results?
So it was 50-50, but we just all broke it. So it's a no.
Wow, so 50-50 though. I told you it's mixed feelings about this. Like some people I saw, I like to read threads. So sometimes I go to posts, I'm there just for the comments. And I'll go like 100 comments deep. I want to know what everybody thinks about it. And I actually saw some people saying, while y'all are out here trying to disrespect dancers, there's a way more discipline to it, because imagine grinding the way you grind for not the same shine that athletes get. And so when I read that, I was like, I can see that. Like, even if you're an underground thing and you've been practicing your whole life, and there's never really been a platform for you to display your skill set, yet you still practice every year. Like, I don't know if I would play basketball. I mean, I love basketball, but even as an adult, like, I wouldn't play basketball as an adult, because if it's not making me money, I have to go to a job. But some of these break dancers, like, they're ready to go. Like, they could have been in the 2020 Olympics because they're still active. So, I mean, kudos to them for, I guess, like, staying with it.
That's like cheerleading.
Yeah, cheerleading.
Oh, but see, cheerleading is more, it's already a very technical sport. They already have parameters in place for that. So but no,
But
I would
they
just
have it at the Olympics.
But I can see that at the Olympics. I can see cheerleading. I was just saying
So
breakdancing.
like, but cheerleading made it before breakdancing made it before cheerleading. Cheerleading is an Olympic sport?
I don't think so.
Cheerleading is not an Olympic sport.
Wow, that's surprising, because them cheerleading competitions are no
They're
joke.
athletes. They're athletes. Cheerleaders are athletes.
But dancers are athletes too, and I agree with what Renee's saying. They do have the same grind. They're working hard. I just said for breakdancing, just to break into the Olympics, that's a lot of technical. You got to get in play, and you know what I'm saying? You got to figure that all out just to throw it up in there. It's got to be a little bit more. I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah, they got to make their own. They got to make their own competition, their own games.
I agree.
Paul said they are not allowed in the Olympics. They need to make their own breakdancing Olympics. Maybe summer, like, you know how there's the Winter Olympics. Maybe they need to make another like category.
All right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So say it was I don't know, John Walker, the gold Olympian that's a breakdancer, and you're Renee Montgomery, the basketball player that's an Olympian gold medal. Like, that's not, how is that comparable?
Some would say it does, and some would say this is absurd. That's why, I mean, our results were literally 50-50, so it does tell you that some people are here for it. But I'm going to move on to Hero IRL. There's a lot of heroes out there, and this week, the one that we're honoring is a frontline worker in Texas, but she's actually way more than that. So Dr. Kwanzaa is an emergency room physician at a Houston hospital, and she talks about like how long her days are. She talks about having to sleep away from her family for 4 months. What else? Oh, and she talks about how to balance all of that while actually being a DJ. Just check out Dr. Kwanzaa, man. Hero IRL.
So what's up, you guys? I'm Dr. Kwanzaa Pinckney. I'm a board certified emergency physician out here keeping it trill in Houston, Texas, holding it down right now in COVID season central. And I'm just really happy to be here with you guys. I'm an emergency physician. I'm a DJ. I make meditation music. I write books. I do all kinds of stuff. So I'm super grateful to be here. And that's me in a nutshell. You know, I think very similar to your story. I mean, I kind of grew up in a background where I was the first many times, and it wasn't really till after I graduated. I think I was just doing something for my bio, and I was like, oh, snap, I think I am the first. And it came to light sort of in the background, but I never really saw it that way. Medicine's just a tough field, period. And so I think more so just being able to get through the process of medical school residency, and then even more challenging, a career, an active career in community medicine has been beyond anything I could dream of. So that was sort of like back shadow, but I mean, it's cool, it's dope, but I'm sort of used to that. I think any of us in areas where we're playing at a higher level, we're going to experience that. And I think you just have to roll with the punches. And that's sort of my approach across the board. I mean, right now, I think I'm the only African-American leader administrator in my hospital. So it's the same thing, but I try not to put it in that narrative. It's just work that needs to be done and representation that needs to be had. So I'm happy to do it, but it's, you know, I'm glad that people recognize that, but at the same time, it's just what we do. Man, it's been a long journey since March. I think that's when we had our first case at our hospital, and we actually had one of the very early cases in the Houston area. And I ain't gonna lie, it was scary. I was like, oh Lord, this is about to be bad. And then it was bad, and it still continues to be bad. And I think more so, I think the misinformation that's been spread via our past president, and also through, unfortunately, cultural belief systems that communities of color have kind of held over a historical period, kind of have made things challenging, and we got behind the 8 ball. And we know that with COVID right now, I mean, the biggest challenge is getting access to care. Your biggest likelihood for survival is your ability to get access to high quality care. And so, especially for minority populations, people who don't have access to a lot of financial resources, it's really pressing upon those communities to say, hey, we have to educate ourselves. We have to know what's going on. We have to be informed. And it takes, you know, people who look like us to get out there and really say it, like, this ain't no joke, it's for real. Stopping by the bar on your way home, like, put your mask on, passing it out. I mean, it's like every day, but the workload is tough. I mean, it's hard wearing, you know, an N95 for 14 hours a day, and if not longer. But at the same time, you know, we have families to come home to that we need to keep safe. I mean, I slept in another room for like 4 months because I was just like, nah, man, I can't. I don't know. This is all new territory for us in medicine right now. We haven't never seen this before. This type of virus progressing at this rate of infection in my lifetime, at least. And so it's been exhausting. I ain't even gonna lie. I can't front. It's been exhausting, but at the same time, it's like a pleasure to serve, and it's a pleasure to get out and talk to people and just, you know, reassure their fears, reassure that, you know, we're doing everything that we can for them, that this is not a joke, that this is a real virus that can cause mortality and death and disability. And I've experienced it in my own family. I've seen it in friends and families of other colleagues. We've had colleagues to pass away. So it's hurtful to hear when people just don't believe that it's real. That makes it even more frustrating, or just an unwillingness to do the basic things that we know can help prevent the spread. And now it's progressed on to production and actually do meditation music for the Nap Bar here in Houston. And actually they're doing some things with the WNBA, which is pretty cool. I know they were trying to help out the bubble, because I know the bubbles looked a little rough in there from the footage I saw. So we were trying to, you know, provide some relaxing tunes to help people sleep, meditate, do whatever they need to do, because right now self-care is everything. I mean, even DJing, I've been doing most of it virtually. And so I can't really say that there's a balance. It's just, we just do it. I do it. And, you know, I just find time, and it makes me happy. And when it doesn't make me happy, I chill and do nothing. What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Dr. Kwanzaa, and we are rocking with Remotely Renee. We're in the building.
I'm not gonna lie, Dr. Kwanzaa, like, I could have listened to her talk forever. Just, I mean, she only is breaking every barrier, and she casually said it. It's amazing. She's only saving people's lives daily, and she's actually DJing as therapy. Wrote a book. Love it, love it, love it. Moving on to, I mean, I'm just saying, it's one of our favorites. I'm sorry, I love it. Paul probably doesn't love it as much as we love it, but rap, where we remotely ask Paul, and we ask him a lot of different things. I know that you guys noticed last week that Paul didn't really know what a monolith was, and he found that out very quickly after the episode. I even saw some people tweet about it. You guys need to tweet Paul too, so he can see him too. But I know you saw somebody, Paul, say, hello, a monolith is a monolith. And now, Paul, do you have anything to say about that, just so you can, you know, redeem yourself on it's not a myth, it's actually real things?
I still don't care about it.
Oh gosh. Okay, so let's see if he cares about this week's topic. Cole, what we got?
Okay, so I'm looking through, and I'm just reading through my news, and I see a title that says "Racing Pigeon Sells for 1.9 million after frantic war." It was a total shock to everyone. And this is over in China. You had two pseudo names that were in there fighting for this pristine and elite bird. And the one was Super Duper, one was the Hitman. And Super Duper won, but at $1.9 million for a pigeon. So my question to you, Paul, is, we were just talking about the Olympic Games. We're just talking about, you know, like different things. Do you think that pigeon racing would be something that goes huge in America? Like, do you think that's going to be a flow over to us? Because if they're spending $1.9 million, can you imagine how much people are betting on these racing pigeons? So tell me something about
this. Is a real thing, Paul.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Tell me about the racing pigeon circuit. Like, how do you think that works?
Wait, what did you say about the cells? Is that what you said?
I said the pigeon sold for $1.9 million.
$1.9 million for a pigeon.
One pigeon. One.
What, they're going to breed it?
New Kim. Her name is New Kim. And she was 1.9.
He said, are they breeding it?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's a part of it too. She came from a long line of pigeons. So my question is, tell me about this pigeon circuit, because I have no idea how it works, but I want to know about the money.
I feel like I need to lead with the clip of Paul voice note saying that he can talk about literally everything. Paul has not had a clue. Cole sent me this and I had already read about this. So the fact, like, Paul, you need to read more news articles. Snook sends out news articles all day long, but Cole, this one's different. But Paul, tell me about the racing pigeons in China. Like, tell me about it.
Yeah, tell me about this.
No, this one's easy. They're gonna bet on it. Of course they are. Anyone bets on anything. There's already stuff like this. So I mean, why not?
Do you think so? You think it's gonna come over to the U.S.? You said, of course. Like, so of course it's gonna come. That was her question. She said, "Do you think pigeon racing is already so big in another country? Do you think that could still be that? Could that happen here in the U.S.?"
I don't know. Pigeons usually attract like viruses and stuff. So.
Viruses. We got enough viruses.
It makes me want to go to New York or to Los Angeles or to some big city and get me some pigeons.
I'm telling you.
Listen, no, ma'am, Snook, those Home Alone pigeons are not going to be the ones that can go against those other pigeons racing. I have a feeling that these pigeons ain't just the ones that you go get out on the street and put them in a race. Somebody paying $1.9 million.
I mean, train them. They had to be trained. Train them over here.
She said Home Alone pigeons. Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying, because if somebody's paying $1.9 million, there's a huge market. To Cole's point, that's like somebody just paid $1.3 million for a Wayne Gretzky rookie Gem Mint 1-of-1 card. That's a lot of money. It made news, and somebody paid $1.9 million for a pigeon.
That's what I'm saying. And the thing is that they pay 1.93 for a card. So that card is it. That's it. But a pigeon and 1.9, that pigeon can fly. So you can only imagine how much. That's why I said, Paul, we got to talk about this. Might be something for us to get into. Maybe this is our next come up.
My new retired career, pigeon trainer.
I'm dead.
This is like some real life Pokemon stuff right here.
Exactly. Like, wouldn't this be crazy though, that like in 10 years we have to go back and get this episode because we remember talking about when pigeon racing was the wildest thing we ever heard. It was a real thing. But I love it, Cole. I mean, Paul said that's easy. They're gonna, what did you say? That's easy. They're gonna what?
They're gonna bet on them. But he still didn't tell them what they're coming, but he says too many viruses, so the pigeons can't come.
US people will still bet on it from the other country though.
That's true. I wonder if you can place bets. Everything's online now. I wonder if FanDuel, Bali, somebody might get into it. One of them betting places might get into it. But I'm moving on to something that's has a little bit more meat and potatoes. Anything my Snookabuka does is elite. So last week, Snook told a story about Fanny Pearl, which is her grandmother, my great-grandmother. Now, Snook was raised by Fanny Pearl. People loved it, Snookabuka. Not gonna lie, people loved hearing about my great-granny. So to recap, Snook's grandmother had 5 legal husbands, 5 of them. We don't know how many illegal husbands she had. I don't even know what that is. But we're going to go through all 5 of the stories. Go back last week and listen to story 1 if you don't know it, because what is it? Husband number 2 is coming right up. Snookabuka, the floor is yours.
Okay, so Fanny Pearl's husband number 2, she married him around 1920, I would have guessed. I don't have any marriage certificates or any documents of that nature, but her second husband's name I do have. I didn't have the first one's name, but the second husband's name was Lewis Smith, and he lived in Rustburg, not far from where she grew up, and his family owned a tree farm, and they were in the lumber business. And so the only thing really interesting I know about him is that he was the only husband that she actually divorced.
Oh, wow.
so she divorced him, and I asked her why, and she said when she married him, she thought she was just marrying him, not his mother.
Oh, monster-in-law. There's movies for that. Monster-in-law.
Wow.
And so I asked her, I said, wow. I said, well, Mom, you always told me that when I selected a mate, I should choose someone who treated their mother good, because if they treated their mother good, they would treat you good. She said, well, yeah, but she said she needs to be treated good in her house, and he needs to treat you good in your house.
Wait, listen, I think that there's a lot of moms out there that need to hear this, because I know a lot of monster-in-laws, and that's mother-in-laws, but they use the term monster-in-law because some moms just don't have a good, they just don't handle well letting their babies go and letting someone else take care of their babies. Cole, do you see yourself being a monster-in-law in the future?
I pray not. I pray every day.
Wait, and you can control it.
You can't control it. You don't even, sometimes you don't even know if you're in that moment, but I'm blessed that my husband gives me the side eye when I go too far with something. He'd be like, now, you only, so I'm hoping that he can keep me grounded, but I pray not. I don't want to be a monster-in-law, but I got 4. So I hope that if the first one say, oh, you getting over, I can be better with the others. That's
my goodness. So my first nephew that marries, the weight of the world is on you, because if that doesn't go right, Cole is going to transform. Okay, yeah. Snook, what do you consider yourself? How do you think you are, Snook?
Oh, I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Let me tell you something.
Anybody that my child brings and says this is the one, I try to treat them with the same love I treat my child. And I think, every now and then there's a little blurb maybe or whatever, but you still have to remember that that person was the person. I didn't choose them. My child chose them. So I have to give them the respect and the love that they deserve being a part of our family.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
My husband loves my mother. He will say I'm calling your mom and telling your mom on you because you ain't acting right. So there's no monster-in-law on this side.
Definitely
and
not.
She takes up for him and she'll say, oh, leave him alone. So she's not a monster-in-law. I can tell you that. Sometimes I wish she was a little bit more of a monster-in-law, because I'm getting threatened here in Maryland sometimes. I'm gonna call your mother and your father because you just ain't acting right. So
and I must say too, as far as my mother-in-law and my husband's family, he says that his family is my family. They treat me better than they do him.
Definitely.
And whenever we had a disagreement or whatever, they would take my side versus his side, and he would get mad. But my family would take his side, so it was kind of balanced. And let me go back and finish this up with Lewis Smith. Interestingly, she had 5 husbands. I had a chance to meet 3 of them, and he was one of the ones I had a chance to meet. Back in the 80s, they had a daughter named Jessie Mae. And because I was raised by my grandmother, we considered ourselves sisters instead of her being my aunt. So when he became ill of health, she went to Rustburg to pick him up, to take him back to Detroit to live with her. So they stopped here in West Virginia on the way back to Detroit. And my grandmother was still living then. And I asked her, well, how do you feel about him coming here and spending the night since, you all divorced 50, 40, whatever, how many years ago? And she says, long as he stays in the basement, I'm good with it.
Oh my goodness. She's nice, because I'm tell you what, if I divorced somebody 40 years ago, they're out of here. They're not staying in the basement. They're not staying in the garage. I feel like that's uncomfortable, and my house is my peace. So
I'm not breaking bread with you no more. No. We ended that. You're not breaking bread at the table anymore. So there's no need. There's no need for that.
No, Paul, what do you think? Is your mom going to be a monster-in-law? When we need to do a let's date Paul. You're the most eligible bachelor. But when you settle down, VP, what do you think that's going to be like? How's your family going to handle that?
That's a good question.
No idea.
Oh my gosh.
All I know, when Snook says these stories, this gives me Back to the Future 3 vibes when they go back in time in the Western days and they meet all their great ancestors. Like literally, I don't know if you guys seen it before, but yeah.
I have not seen it, but I'm sure Cole I'm sure has, but I love it. Is that all for the remote? Bruce, do you have anything else on Lewis Smith?
No, I don't. That's about
I like his basic name.
Yeah, I like his
Lewis.
basic name, and Snook's maiden name is Smith. So
Oh, let me just say this: she married two Smiths. He was the first Smith she married. They won't say that.
that's
So
what I was
she-
about to say.
Yeah.
I don't think that wasn't. Oh, she had a thing for Smiths.
I'm
Moving.
gonna come back with how many Smiths are in the world next week.
Oh yeah, because that is
Right.
a very common name. And Snook's maiden name is Smith.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And I had an uncle who I tried to locate in Philadelphia, who kind of, got out of the way of the family. His name was William Smith, and I got a Philadelphia phone book, and it was like 8 pages of William Smith. So
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. We're moving on. Everybody got your clipboards today, Cole? Beautiful.
I'm
Get
ready.
your clipboards. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's 100% chance that y'all better get this one right.
We
Not
gonna see.
playing. Okay, so
I can't play because you sent the notes and I looked at them.
oh no, Paul cheated. So Paul can't guess because he cheated. He
cheat.
saw the notes. He didn't cheat, but he's in the chat where I send Heartland group. Shouts to Heartland, where I send them the notes of what the segment is going to be this week and who's the winner and how to do it. And so basically, I sent him all of my notes and he read them and he saw who it is. Anyway, this is called Remote Roses, and this is where I just like to show love. I always like to end the show with showing love. And this week, I'm really excited about this person. You guys better guess it. Guess along with them. LeVar Ball was last week, and it did not go well. We said LaFonso. What did they say? Lorenzo Ball, and all kinds of different wrong answers. So let's see if they can do better this week. So the first hint number 1. This former Louisiana Tech grad was selected 12th overall in the 1997 WNBA draft by the New York Liberty.
Okay.
Snook, there ain't no way. You know that? All right. Look at her. She's really thinking I'm dead. You won't know it yet. What? You know the whole 1997 draft? Hint number 2. This Hall of Famer was a letterman in basketball and track and field. In track and field, she was the Louisiana State champion on the long jump as a senior in high school. No phones and Googling, Snook. No cheating. I can see you. Hint number 4. Look at this. I love this. I love when you guys don't know. Hint number 4. In June 2005, in honor of this baller scoring 3,000 points, she was Sandy Levine, who is the owner of the world famous Carnegie Deli in Manhattan, created a signature sandwich, the VJ Classic, a 3,000 calorie belly busting sandwich. And now this is the clue. The next clue coming up is the one that should really give it away. This former Aces assistant coach was recently named the head coach of the Dallas Wings.
I'm so bad with names.
Oh my goodness, Snook. I think we need the first name, don't we?
I'm bad with first names.
Oh, that's so good. Show it again, Snook. Let me see your guess.
Not the first one.
Wait a minute. What's that second one say? So Snook says V. Johnson. Cole, Valerie Johnson.
No, that's not her name.
Incorrect. I love this. Any more guesses for the VJ Belly Buster 3,000 calorie sandwich?
I know who it is. I just can't think of her first name.
Oh, this is a beautiful thing. So the person that we're giving remote roses to this week is Vicki Johnson, who was just named the head coach of the Dallas Wings. Shouts to Vicki Johnson. I love seeing, shouts to Vicki. You know, I was talking to Chastity Melvin the other day, but I love seeing former players get the opportunity to be coaches in the league because the passion's there, the knowledge is there. It just makes sense. So giving Vicki, Paul said I should throw these roses behind me at the camera. I'm going to try it out this week. I'm like, who's going to clean this up? I guess I'm going to have to clean it up. But Vicki Johnson, congratulations. Remote roses. And look, that's all we have for this week. After giving some roses,
do I get a half a point there?
You get 0 points. I have no correct answers from you or Cole. And two, there's no, almost is never enough. So there is not a sportsman. She won the sportsmanship award. We don't give those here. Oh, girl. Oh, girl. But hey, listen, Listen, thank you guys for rocking with us. Episode 3. I hate to end on a somber note, but our family is grieving pretty badly right now. So my heart is with my sister. Yesterday, her best friend, Tamika Pugh, was killed in a car accident, and basically it gutted our whole family last night when we found out. So Tamika's family, the Pews, Nishay, my sister, we love you, Xavier. We love you guys. We're thinking of you guys. And we got y'all. Catch you next week.